Hello, it's Belinda here, and it's time for Wisdom Warrior Wednesday. This week, I had two interesting things happen. I had a client postpone, and then this morning, I arrived at a meeting with a potential client, and they weren't there. Now, neither of those two things is a catastrophe. In fact, if you've been in business long enough, you'll know they happen. But what fascinated me wasn't the events themselves, it was the stories that my mind immediately wanted to tell about those events. Maybe you've had moments like that too. The message isn't returned, someone doesn't call, an opportunity doesn't happen, a conversation goes quiet, and before we know it, we've moved from this happened to this means something about me. And that's where things get interesting. Have you ever had one of those moments where something small happens and it feels much bigger than it actually should? Maybe someone doesn't return your call. Maybe you missed out on an opportunity. Maybe somebody postponed a meeting. Maybe somebody says no. God forbid somebody says no. And suddenly, without warning, your mind starts telling a story, not about today, but about you. The story might sound something like this. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe they don't see my value. Maybe what I do doesn't matter. Now, here's the interesting part. Most of the people I meet who carry these thoughts are incredibly capable. They are leaders, they're business owners, professionals, parents, people who have achieved a great deal in life already. Yet underneath all that experience is that very human question, am I enough? And I had a moment this week that reminded me, in fact, I've had two moments this week that have reminded me of that. And it made me realize something. Sometimes what hurts isn't the event. It's the meaning we attach to the event. Some really smart person a while ago said, nothing has meaning except for the meaning that we give it. That is so potent, so potent. A postponed meeting becomes rejection. A slow week becomes failure. A setback becomes proof that we're somehow falling behind. But what if it isn't? What if it's just the event? What if the story is completely optional? As I've been developing my lifestyle architect work, I've become increasingly aware that so many people are trying to build a successful life on the outside while questioning themselves on the inside. And that creates a kind of misalignment. The world sees confidence, but you feel uncertainty. The world sees success, yet somehow or another you feel doubt. The world sees capability, and yet you feel exhausted from carrying it all. The truth is, most people feel this at some point. You are not unusual, and neither am I. What that means is we're human. The solution isn't to become somebody else. The solution is to reconnect with who you already are. So, how do we do that? To create an environment and a mindset and a way of living that reminds you of your worth, especially on the days when life forgets to. So I want you to ask yourself this question. What evidence do you have that your value is greater than your current doubt? Because I suspect evidence is there. You may simply have forgotten where to look. I did an exercise with some clients a little while ago, and it was an evidence sheet. It was an evidence of, you know, great things. And like from when you're a kid through till now, just start with an A4 sheet of paper and write a list of things that you have actually achieved and seen through to fruition. You might be surprised. I certainly was. And it is such a worthwhile thing to have on the wall sometimes for moments like this when you doubt. I'm Belinda. This has been Wisdom Warrior Wednesday. And I always, always, always encourage people to live by design, not by default. I will see you next week. Bye for now.